Hello everyone, welcome back to online class. I'm AKKAMAHADEVI, your science teacher from Upper Public School, Kalaburi. So children, today I'm here with the continuation of the same chapter, that is getting to know plants. So before we start this chapter, let us recall the points which we have discussed in the previous class. Okay, so in the previous class, children, what we have discussed? Yes. So in the previous class, we have discussed about the types of plants based on their characters, isn't it? So do you all remember like which are those plants? Yes? Herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, creepers, isn't it? So just open your textbook, children. Page number 53. Okay, so just open your textbook, page number 53. So you can see the image. Okay, you can see herb, shrub and tree. Okay, so when you see all these three plants, like these two plants and trees, so what do you see? Like how can you compare? So as we discussed, like herbs are the plants with, yes, soft and tender stem. So herbs are having very soft and tender stem, and we can easily bend the stem of herb, and they are having only few branches, as you can see here. Okay, so when we talk about shrub, so how the shrubs looks like, see, so the branches are very close to the ground, isn't it? And here shrubs are taller than herbs and shorter than trees, isn't it? And next, when we talk about trees, so trees are very taller and they have very hard and thick brown stem, isn't it? So this is all about herb, shrub and tree. Okay, so next, apart from these plants, even there are few plants whose roots are very weak and they cannot stand upright. For example, climbers and creepers. So even you can see the image of climbers and creepers, children. Okay, so page number 54. Turn the page so you can see here. Okay, so here creepers. So here creepers are the plants which are having very weak stem, as we all know that, isn't it? So they cannot stand upright, so they spread on the ground. Okay, so you can see in the image how they have spread on the ground. And the example for this creeper, watermelon, isn't it? Pumpkin. Okay, so when we talk about climbers, so even you can see the image of climber also. Okay, so how the plant takes the support of neighboring structure to climb up. So here climbers are the plants which take the support of neighboring structure, might be wall or tree or fence. Okay, so with the help of neighboring structure, climbers can climb up. You can see the image here. Okay, so this is all about herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers and creepers. Okay, so next what we have discussed? Yes, children? We have discussed about the parts of a plant. Okay, so let me draw here once again. Okay. So here is a rough diagram of plant. Okay. Okay, so here is a rough diagram of plant. So now when we label the parts, we come to know that the part which is below the ground. So these are roots. Okay, so the part of the plant which is below the ground. So they are roots. Okay. So now, what about the part of a plant which is above the ground? Yes, they are stem, isn't it? Leaves. Okay. Flowers. Okay. So when we talk about the part of a plant which is above the ground, so the parts are like stem, leaves, flowers. Okay. So these are the like parts which we are going to discuss in this chapter. So already we have discussed about stem, isn't it? So here the below the ground, as I said, like it consists of root. So root system consists of roots. So this is root system. Okay, so root system consists of roots. And what about shoot system? So here shoot system consists of stem, leaves and flowers. Okay, so now when we talk about stem, so do you remember children, like what are the functions of stem and how stem is important? Yes, so let me tell you. So when we talk about stem, so stem is the main part of the plant which is above the ground. So you can see here. Okay, so here stem is the main part of the plant which is above the ground. And what the stem bears? It bears leaves, flowers, isn't it? Fruits, buds, branches, and so on. Okay, and the main function of stem are it conducts water and minerals from roots to the leaves, isn't it? So it conducts water and mineral from roots to the leaves, and even it transports food from leaves to the other parts of the plant. Okay, so here even it transports food from the leaves which prepares the food, isn't it? So it transports food from the leaves to the other parts of the plant, and even it holds a plant aerial structure such as leaves, fruits, flowers, and so on. Okay, so this is all about what we have discussed in the previous class. Yes, children. So today we are going to discuss about leaf. Okay. So children, you might have all seen the flowers, like plants, different types of plants. So whether all the plants will be having same type or same color of leaves? Yes, children. Do you find that the plants which are around us, will they have the same type of leaves? Yes, they'll be having same types, same color or same pattern. No, like they will be having, like we can find the colors of leaves, like different colors we can find, and even different shapes also we can find, and even we can find the pattern also different. Okay, so let us discuss in detail about leaves. So before that, let me draw here. Okay, so when we talk about leaf, so here this is the stem. Okay, so now what do we call the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem? Yes, children. So here this is the part of a leaf, isn't it? Which is attached to the stem. So what do we call for this part? Petioles. Okay. So here the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem is known as petiole. Okay. So first let me write here petiole. So what do you mean by petiole? The part of a leaf which is, yes, the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem. Okay. So here this part. This is the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem. Is called, yes children, is called petiole. Okay. So once again I'll repeat children. So what do you mean by petiole here? This is leaf, isn't it? So this is stem. So this part of a leaf which is attached to the stem is known as petiole. Okay, so same thing I have written here. Petiole means the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem is called petiole. Okay, so do you got children? Like what do you mean by petiole? Petiole is the part of a leaf which is attached to the stem. Okay, so now when we talk about this part, a broad green part of a leaf. So what do we call? Yes, children? So this part is known as lamina. Okay. So let me write here. So what do you mean by lamina? So here the broad green part of a leaf is called lamina. Okay, so here the broad green part of a leaf is called lamina. So this part, okay, the broad and green color leaf. So this part is known as lamina. Okay, so now the lines which are present on a leaf. Yes, children? So what do we call for those lines? Yes, we call veins. Okay. Small lines present on a leaf. Okay, so here you can see the lines which are present on a leaf are called its veins. Okay, so here these lines which are present on a leaf, they are called as, yes children, they are called as veins. Okay, so once again I will repeat here. Small lines present on a leaf are called its veins. So these lines which are present on a leaf, they are called as veins. Okay, so now what do we call for this part? Yes, children, the line which is in the middle of the leaf. Yes, what do we call? Let me tell you. So the line, thick line which is present, yes, in the middle of the leaf is called as mid-rib. Okay, so what do you mean by mid-rib here? A thick line which is present. Yes, where it is present? The thick line which is present in the middle. Okay, which is present in the middle of the leaf is called midrib. Okay, so here this line which is present, the thick vein also we can say. Okay, the thick vein which is present in the middle of a leaf is known as midrib. Okay, so a thick line which is present in the middle of the leaf, or even you can say the thick vein. Okay, so these are all, this is also a line like other veins. Okay, but this will be very thick. Okay, so the thick vein which is present in the middle of a leaf is known as midrib. Okay, so now let me write here, children. So what we call for these lines? Yes, they are veins, isn't it? So now what we call for the thick vein which is present in the middle of the leaf? Yes, midrib. Okay, so once again I will repeat, children. So what do you mean by petioles here? The part of a leaf which is attached to the stem is known as petioles. Okay, and when we talk about lamina, so lamina is a broad green part of a leaf. This is known as lamina. And the small lines which are present on the leaf, so these lines are called as veins. Okay, and the thick vein which is present in the middle of the leaf is known as midrib. Okay, so these are the parts which we can find in the leaf. Okay, so this is all about leaf. So now, can we find these lines same on all the leaves, children? Yes, can we find the same lines like this line only in all the leaves? No, we find different, isn't it? So here that is known as, like, the veins which form a pattern on the leaf is known as leaf venation. Okay, so let me write here. The veins also make a pattern on leaves. Okay, so the lines, the veins which are present on the leaves, they also make a pattern on the leaf. Okay, and that is known as leaf venation. Okay, so now what do you mean by leaf venation, children? The pattern, yes, the pattern of veins on a leaf. Okay, so here the pattern on a leaf is known as venation. Okay, so the patterns which these patterns they make, that is known as leaf venation. And again, in the leaf venation there are two types of venation. One is reticulate venation and the another one is parallel venation. So let us discuss like what do you mean by reticulate venation and what do you mean by parallel venation. Okay. Types of leaf venation. So as I said, like how many types are there, children? One is reticulate venation. Okay. And another one is parallel venation. So we can find two types of venation on the leaf. One is reticulate venation and the another one is parallel venation. Okay. So now what do you mean by reticulate venation? Yes, children. So here you all might be seeing leaves, isn't it? So when you observe the leaf carefully, you will find a net-like structure. Okay. So when you observe leaf, like reticulate leaf very closely, you will find a net-like structure on both the side of the midrib. Okay, so that is known as reticulate venation. Yes, children. So here, if the design is made like net-like structure on both the side of the midrib. Okay, so if the design is net-like on both sides of midrib, so that side also and this side also. Okay, so if it forms like that, so then that venation is known as reticulate venation. Okay, so let me write here. If the venation is net-like on both the side of midrib. Okay, if the design is net-like on both the sides of midrib, so then that venation is called reticulate venation. Okay, so if we find a net-like structure on both the side of the midrib, so then those leaves are known as reticulate venation. So they form a pattern. Okay, so that is known as reticulate venation. So now, what are the examples for this reticulate venation? Where do we find these types of leaves? Like in which plants we can see? Ishmael, can you guess? Let me tell you. Example. So just you observe rose plant. Okay, you can find a net-like structure. Okay, and even people tree. Okay, even you can find the net-like structure on these leaves also, and even you can see mango tree also, etc. and so on. Okay, so here once again I'll repeat, children, like what do you mean by reticulate venation means? So here, if the venation is net-like, okay, so if the design which is made here, okay, if the design is net-like on both the side of the midrib. Then that venation is known as reticulate venation. And the examples are like rose plant, people tree, mango tree, and so on. Okay, so this is about reticulate venation. So now next type is, yes children, parallel venation. Okay, so now let us discuss what do you mean by parallel venation. So the second one is parallel venation. Okay, so here if the design made by veins on a leaf is parallel. So if the veins on the leaf, they are parallel, so then that venation is known as parallel venation. Okay, so here if the design made by veins on a leaf is parallel to each other. Okay, so next, that venation is called, which venation? Parallel venation. Okay, and the example for these are, yes children, where do we find these types of leaves? Yes, the examples are like grass, okay, wheat. You can see the leaves of these wheat plant and even maize also, okay, and so on. So like when we find the leaves of wheat plant or maize plant, we find the veins which are parallel to each other. So that venation is known as parallel venation. So here in your textbook also they have shown children. So just open your textbook. Okay, page number 56. Okay, open your book, page number 56. So here you can see the two types of leaves. One is like venation, two types of venation. One is reticulate venation and another one is parallel venation. So here in the parallel venation, either, for example, you okay, these two are the leaves. So either the veins will be okay, this is the midrib. Okay, and here either they are parallel horizontally or vertically. Okay, either they are parallel horizontally or vertically. Okay, but they are parallel to each other. So this is all about parallel venation. So once again I'll repeat children. So what do you mean by here reticulate venation? If the design is net-like structure on both the side of a midrib. Okay, the design is net-like structure. So then that venation is known as reticulate venation. And the examples are, yes, rose plant, people tree, mango tree, and so on. Okay, and when we talk about parallel venation, so here, yes, children, if the design is, yes, if the design made by veins on a leaf is parallel to each other. If they are parallel to each other, then that venation is known as, yes children, parallel venation. Okay, so this is all about leaves. So now let us discuss about the main function of leaves. Okay, so what is the function of leaves? Yes, so there are two main functions of leaf. Okay, there are two main functions of leaves. Which are those? Yes, children. One is transpiration. Okay. And the another one is photosynthesis. So these two are the main functions of leaves. Which are those? One is transpiration and one is photosynthesis. So we will discuss in detail about like what do you mean by transpiration, what do you mean by photosynthesis, and how it works in the next class. Okay, children. So just you know that like there are two main functions of leaves. One is transpiration and the another one is photosynthesis. So about these two functions, like let us discuss in the next class in detail. I hope like you all have understood this class, children. Thank you. Have a nice day.